All right, it's 6 o'clock. Let's go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. Hey, Kim. Good to see you again. Spent all day and bowl together. Welcome everybody to the last night of this go around of Ignite After Dark. For those of you who don't remember, I am Alana Hubert Katz, Director of Coaching at Keller Williams Legacy in Towson, Maryland, and really excited to kind of tie a pretty bow around this for all of you and put this all together. So as we are getting started, as I'm letting people in, all that good stuff, I would love to just open it up. So if you can't take off of mute, put it in the chat box. If you can, use the little reaction button at the very bottom where it says raise your hand. I would love to hear, you've just gone through Ignite, whether you've attended every night, whether you attended almost every night. You've heard from so many different instructors. You've had so many different topics, drinking from a fire hose. I know. Okay. It's like drinking from a fire hose. But what did you get out of it? What have you walked away with, like, okay, here is something from Ignite I am walking away with?
Hi.
Hi, Kim.
Hi. I think I got coach from DC. I forgot his name, T or something like that. He was
Tyrone.
he was basically saying don't farm and hunt, and just thinking that I'm posting, that I'm a realtor and stuff like that. I actually have to go out and do the head of conversations and things of that nature.
Awesome. I love that. Yeah, Tyrone is amazing. Excellent takeaway there. All right, what else? Anyone else get anything out of Ignite at all? Walking away with anything? All right. Well, as you're thinking about it, or maybe you're typing in the chat box something amazing, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We're going to go ahead and get started. And tonight is all about planning your future, right? So if you think about Ignite it's called the skills to spark your career for a reason. If you noticed, each of the topics and each week was kind of a theme, right? So it started out with mindset, how to find business, really how to get started, time management, things like that. Then you had topics regarding buyers, right? Winning buyers, talking about buyers. You had topics win with seller or win the seller, right? Talking about sellers, negotiation skills, closing, right? We can get a client, we can show them a house, we can get a listing, but then how do we get them to the table, right? How do we close it? So really, Ignite is set up to take an agent from A to Z. I highly recommend, I know I said this last time I was on here, I want to repeat it because it's so important. I highly recommend every single quarter when Ignite comes back around. Ignite After Dark is every quarter. The next one kicks off in January, and there's Ignites all over the place, right? There's Ignites on there's YouTube Ignites, there's Ignites on KW Connect, other market centers do Ignite. When it comes around, look at the schedule, and depending on where you are in your business, if you need more help because you're struggling with listings and negotiation tactics, take those classes over and over and over. We cannot master anything with just one class. It's not possible, right? If you're struggling with mindset stuff, tap into the first part of Ignite, the first few, right? And just focus there. So I really recommend, again, taking the different classes multiple times. And you'll also have different instructors almost every time you take it, which is amazing, because then you'll get to learn little bits and pieces of what they've gone through as an agent. All right. So we're going to be going through tonight is We're going to be talking about your big future. We're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about commitment, planning for learning, designing your future. And we're going to recap it, just kind of put a pretty bow on it and send you on your way. If you are in a place, meaning not driving, where you can have pen and paper, I really recommend it because we're about to do some writing. Okay. Now, if you have an iPad next to you or something to type on, that's fine as well. But we're about to go to some screens where it's not going to be me talking a lot. It's going to be asking some questions, getting you to think and write things down for you. So how you think matters. How you think is the beginning. How you think in the beginning really matters. Why? Why is that? Why is Gary Keller himself saying how you think in the beginning really matters? It's going to be a really long night if I'm talking to myself.
I mean, I think you have to start off with a good mindset. Like anything, you want to start with a good foundation and plan ahead so that you can make sure that you're reaching your goals and having a smart plan. So I think in the beginning, that's the most important.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. Absolutely. Right? Because mindset matters. Right? Every day we make a choice. Every day we get up in the morning. And let me ask this question. It is Tuesday. So I'm going to ask this question from last week. Did anybody make a choice? Let's be totally honest right now. And if you want to like raise your little digital thumb, but did anybody make a choice last week that did not lead to something you need to do in real estate? So for example, I made a choice to watch a few more movies and stay at home in my PJs. Now, I'm not talking about like taking a day for yourself and maybe you didn't feel well. Health come first. We need days for ourselves. But on those days, we need to lead gen. We need to talk to people. We need to get out. We need to do activities. Whatever those activities are, we're doing. Last week, did anybody make a choice to not do them on the days you said you wanted to or that you were going to? Did we have days we did not do? We made a choice to not do something. Absolutely. Thank you. Absolutely. I did too. I had two of them back to back. Actually, I had 2.5 of them back to back. Okay. It's going to happen. Right. Don't beat yourself up when that happens, but recognize it at the end of every week, or better yet, midweek. Do a midweek spot check for mindset and an end of week spot check. So what that could look like is on Wednesday, I'm talking to an agent right now and I'm helping him with a lot of mindset stuff. He has to get over a lot of mindset things to really push himself forward. So what I asked him to do is get a journal, right? Just buy one of those notebooks, go to Target or whatever, get a notebook. And each day write down something in the notebook, something in the journal. Now that something could be a win for the day. Maybe it's something good that happened. Maybe it was a challenge. Maybe it was a struggle. Maybe it was something working through a mindset, right? But writing it down, getting it out of the head onto paper. And then on Wednesdays, sitting down for at least 30 minutes and seeing, okay, where's my mind this week? It's Wednesday. What's my mindset been this week? Are you aligned with, I love how this says this, are you aligned with your heart? Right? Meaning, how are you feeling? Are you aligned with your passions? Are you aligned with what you're wanting to do? Right? In anything we do, we're gonna have things during the day we don't want to do. Right now, we have an agent who has a deal that is difficult. She is working with a deal right now that is not easy at all. The clients are not easy. Broker had to get involved. It is going to be a doozy to get this one to the finish line. So every day she knows she's going to have to deal with this type of scenario until the ending because it's so close. It's so close. Okay. So that's going to take a toll on her mindset. It already has taken a toll on her mindset. She has not done the activities she needs to do because she's so frustrated with this one client. So that one client has taken over her mind And she made a choice to allow that to happen. And unfortunately, what's that going to result in? What do you guys think? What's the result of that? Positive, negative, thumbs up, thumbs down?
I think it's negative because once you give into that negative mindset that things are going to go X, Y, and Z, it just kind of puts you in a slump. You have to think positive and find the positive ways around all of the things to navigate whatever that client might have going on. I understand
Yes,
that.
absolutely. Absolutely. That's exactly right, right? It's completely negative. And unfortunately, it's only going to hurt her and her family and her future. Right? So if you haven't seen this yet, we have a phrase for it. So if you haven't heard it, it's actually pronounced WI4C 2Ts. WI4C 2Ts. Right. And it is the Keller Williams belief system. As an agent, it's important for you to have a belief system. Now, you can, until you create your own, you can totally steal this one. Right. If you don't ever want to create your own, I haven't. I just stole this one. I'm like, this is a great one. Why would I create something else? Right. But it's important to, when you're working on your mindset, when you're working your business with buyers and sellers, what are your values? What are you holding to? Right. All right. So we can do a little activity right now. This is where your pen and paper come in handy. We're going to talk about value proposition. Does your value proposition truly reflect who you are, the value you bring, the benefit your clients will experience working with you? Are you confident sharing your value proposition with your contacts? If not, how can you make it easier to express your value? Okay. So first, let me ask this. Does anybody on here have a written out or typed up value proposition for themselves? Would anybody who is nodding their head yes be willing to share it? If not, that's not a problem. Or you can type in the chat box. So we're going to take a few minutes. And what I want you to do is, if you're not quite sure what to or how to write a value proposition, start writing down just words. Right? Then I'm going to give you a little cheat for how to make your value proposition, how to actually word it in sentences, right? So before we start writing this down, what does it mean, value proposition? What does this actually mean? What am I asking you guys to do?
Hello.
Hi.
Um, it seems like the values are important so we can really understand why we are in this business. And if we don't have values, we would kind of just be driving down the highway with no direction, no end destination. So I think the values set like a good basis on our goals and everything.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks, Carlos. They set a good, clear vision on you, right? What you stand for. Right? It's Jamil. Hey, Jamil, I saw you today too. It's he said, what is my worth as an agent to my clients? Yeah, right. That too. Absolutely. Right. It's why should they choose you? Most listings, right? Most sellers are interviewing 2 to 3 agents. Why should they choose you? And by the way, many of them choose brand new agents. They don't care about your experience. They do not care about your experience. Right? It's all about trust and your relationship with them. So we're going to take a few minutes right now. What I want you to do is I want you to write down, what is your value proposition? And again, it can be words. You don't have to do sentences. What are you bringing to the table? What's going to benefit your clients? Why should they work with you? Take a few minutes, write that down. If you get stuck or you have questions, let me know. And then just so you know, I am going to ask at least one person to share what they wrote down. All right. So did you write some things down? Who's looking, who's going to share it? By the way, there's no right or wrong because it's your words. Your value proposition is just your words.
I'll share. I just putting my client's best interest first and integrity.
I love that. Now, let me ask you this, Kim. So you go out, let's say this week, and you're talking to buyers, sellers, investors, are you confident in sharing that statement with them?
Yes.
Right. Hi, I'm Kim Jackson, and I put my clients first, and all those words you just said that I didn't write down and I can't remember. With the word integrity.
Yes.
Okay, I love that. Type that out and hang it somewhere, or type it on your phone and save it somewhere. Right? You need a value proposition that sits so well that you have no problem spitting it out when you start talking to anybody. Right? This is me. This is what I offer. All right, let's hear one more. One more person share. I'll share with you guys a little cheat sheet. So actually went to, while you guys were writing, I went to ChatGPT. Oh, that's my new best friend, please, as an agent. Greatest thing ever. And I literally typed in, you're a realtor, write a value proposition to share with your clients. Now, it wrote something super, 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 super long. And I'm like, okay, that is not memorable in any way because it is way too long. Maybe that'll go in like a packet, but yeah. So I said shorten it. So it says, I'm here to provide you with personalized service, expertise, and unwavering commitment. Let's work together to make your real estate dreams a reality. I'd probably get rid of that sentence, with especially the word dreams. With clear communication, market knowledge, and a passion for your goals, I'm your trusted partner in this exciting journey. Okay. Now here's some words that it put in there that maybe if you don't have words yet, you want to put this in, right? Clear communication. People want communicators. Over 80% of the real estate population today do not know how to communicate well with their clients or, to believe it or not, other agents. If you've not experienced that yet, you will. Trust me. Okay. And if you don't experience it, it actually means you're not doing enough business. It talks about market knowledge. Now, here's the thing. You might not know everything about the market, but what's the fastest way to learn the market? Do you guys know? What is the fastest way as agents we can learn the market? Anybody want to guess? Google. I like that. Be careful of your sites. Some sites you can go to on Google that are really great. NAR, National Association of Realtors. Go there like 15 minutes once a week. Read a bunch of things. Great information. Your local association of realtors. So we're in Maryland. So MAR, Maryland Association of Realtors. Depending on where you're located, find yours. Right. Again, 15 minutes. Pick one of the sites, go to one. Another one that's great is oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank right now. It's going to come to me. Stay tuned. And I will say another one, another amazing way to learn the market is to get out and just start looking at homes. Just start checking out houses. On the weekends, go to some open houses. During the weekday, schedule some showings for yourself, or walk around neighborhoods, or just drive around neighborhoods, see what's in the market. Or if you're on the multiple listing service, Bright MLS, jump on there. right? Again, 15 minutes, that's all we need. We think we need to study for hours on end, right? But if you're like, all right, let me do 15 minutes here, let me start my day, let me just look up this zip code, right? I'll go to Bright MLS and I'll just look up a zip code. Be like, hey, what's active in this zip code right now? Let me now, okay, wow, okay, so this zip code has 42 things active. Okay, let me scroll down. What's days on market? Let me look at pending and under contract. Right? How many, and just click on a few of them. How many, what's that? What are days on market here? Right? Bright MLS also has, and they have great training, and YouTube is my favorite way to learn their website, by the way. They also have market stats on their site as well. Right? All right. So let's talk about you. Let's talk about your big life. Remember the very beginning of Ignite? It's probably the first session that you guys had, talked all about your why, right? Why in real estate? Why get up? Why do this? Why help buyers? Why help sellers? Why show up for Ignite after a long day at work, right? So I want you to take a minute right now and I want you to revisit. I want you to think about your vision, your future, your big life, right? Where everything we do right now is actually how we start 2024. Right? Not to get deep at around 6:30 at night right now, but I'm totally gonna, I'm going there. I'm going there. Are you exactly where you want to be right now? Financially, work-wise, everything else-wise, anything personal? Are you living the big life you always dreamed of? Now, you might have amazing things going on. Don't get me wrong. You might be like, oh my God, I love this. I love this. I love my new house. I got a new dog, right? But what's next for you? What do you want next? When you think of a big life, by the way, that word means something different for everybody on here. What do you want that to look like? Right? So I'm going to share a story right now, and then you guys are going to get into a lot of activity with this one as well. And yes, I'm going to ask somebody to share. So today, I don't know if anybody on here, I know two people on here know this because they were there. Keller Williams has a huge training, and it's called BOLD, Business Objective Life by Design. Different locations, different market centers will apply to get approved to fly out a nationwide BOLD coach. So you have to actually apply a year in advance to get approved to fly out an approved coach for this. So we did. I applied last year. We got approved, and our BOLD started today. Our BOLD coach's name is Dustin. He's full of energy. My God, that's why I'm wearing my BOLD shirt. And this is a personal story that happened afterwards, by the way. So I'm getting personal right now. So at the very end of BOLD, right? So today was like the first step. It's the free step. You go there, you get a lot of things out of it. People got referrals today. Like people got business today. We set appointments today. It was full of energy and free. But the actual next 6 weeks of it, one day a week, is not free. It's an investment in your business. It is a tax write-off though, but it's an investment in your business, right? And a lot of people can't afford it, right? Some people are like, okay, I'm going to invest because I'll get a closing and they'll pay it off. But some people truly can't put the money up front. They don't have it. So let me land this plane here because the story's getting long. At the very end of BOLD, I was talking to a few people, and I know some of their stories. They've shared them with me. And I remember turning to someone I work with, and I was like, I am not living the life I want yet. I love what I do. I love coaching. I love training. I love what I do. I'm ecstatic. But I don't have the big life. Because if I did, I'd be able to just whip out my card and fund all of them. Now, they'd have to have a little skin in the game, but like, okay, $50, like put something in the game, right? But if I was living my big life, that's what I literally looked at someone and was like, I am not at my I'm not there yet. Because I can't whip out my card and just be like, I'm paying for all of you. Let's go. Right. That to me is like the ultimate for me. Right. So that was very eye-opening to me because I thought I was like, wow, I am doing what I want to do, where I want to do it. And I was like, nope, I have not arrived. So 2 people on here were Apple today. So they have not heard that story. So now they did. So take a minute, think about, I want you to write down, what's your future? What's your big life? What do you want that to look like? As you're writing this down, I want you to squash those little voices that get in our head of, oh, that's not possible. Right? So all those little outside voices that we hear. Okay. So hopefully you all wrote something down. I'd love for someone to share. What'd you write down? By the way, again, no wrong answers because it's your life. We are a quiet bunch tonight. We just really tired. That's what it is.
We just need a margarita.
Man. See, I wish someone messaged me or something, been like, we're gonna close out Ignite with margaritas. We could have had a margarita party in here. I mean, come on.
I know. 2 nights I had wine and I was like, crap, I'm sitting here drinking wine on Ignite. Sorry, so I decided not to do it today. I'll share some. So I have 2 columns. I have a personal one and I have a business one. So for my personal one, which I think we probably all wrote down, is generational wealth. Sorry, I just ran up the stairs. My kids are outside. Generational wealth, and to have more family time where I don't feel like I have to sacrifice, like, oh, I'm taking off for work and I want to have family time. I want it to be okay. Like I'm having family time and business is still flowing. So those were some debt-free, obviously, savings, and to give back, do more mission work. Kind of like you said, if you were able just to pay for everyone, you would. Like I want to be able to say, you know what, let me help these few people out or do some things like that. Business-wise, I want to do annual investments. Like if I can buy a property every year, passive income, and just to really try and leverage my business. And obviously I want to be a top producing agent in 2 years. That's my goal.
I love that. Remind me when you started in real estate.
September 12th.
Okay. Well, I'll share with you, there's something called Rookie of the Year that exists in every market center every year. So there is no reason why a person who really wants it and has a big life goal and a big why, which we're going to talk about right now, couldn't achieve that. But remember, it's all about mindset and the choices we make.
I feel like this is a good start. I signed on the day before Ignite started, so I feel like, oh, this is a good jump start.
Love it. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that.
No problem.
All right. And I want to just thank Jamil. Thank you so much for sharing that in the chat box. Definitely doing the same things, right? For new agents, helping people out. And be comfortable enough to quit the full-time job. Anybody else on here? I mean, we're sitting here 6:30 at night. So I know a lot of us work a full-time job and also real estate, right? So anybody else want to be real estate full-time? Who's not? Okay, I see head nods. Okay. So let's move that into this. Let's move that into your why now. So here's the thing. We need to know, like, what is that life we want? And we want to get, I challenge all of you to spend more time on that. When you get really, really clear with it, right? Sit down. If you live with anybody, maybe you sit down with them as well and really get clear on what does that look like? What do you want to be doing in 5 years from now? Where are you? Are you in the same state? Are you in the same house? Are you driving the same car? Are you making the same money? Are you making more money? If you say more money, how much more money? What's the number? If you say, I want to be out of debt, how much debt do you have? When do you want to be out of debt by? See where I'm going with this? Get so super crystal clear, right? You don't have to know how you're going to do it just yet, but get clear on what you want. When you get clear on what you want, now we need to get clear on why, right? Why do we want these things? I was talking to someone recently, a newer agent, and they were like, oh man, my number one big why, I have a picture on my phone. It's this car. Don't ask what kind of car. I have no idea. It was beautiful. It was cool. Really cool looking car. I was like, oh my God, okay, that's an awesome looking car. And I said to him, I was like, okay, when do you want the car by? He goes, whenever I can get it. I said, all right, well, what if you don't get it in the next year? Yeah, that's fine. What if you don't get it the next 5 years? No, that's fine too. It's like, all right, what if you never get that car? You get other cars, but not that one. He goes, I mean, I'd be upset, but that's okay. Is that a why then? I see head nods no, which is correct. That is not a why. That's not a reason that's pushing him to get up every day and do what he needs to do. Your why has to be so powerful that is pushing you to do what you need to do. Right? Let me ask all of you this. What would happen? Okay, do I have everybody's permission to go like kind of dark? Like my hair I just made. I used to be blonde. Now I'm not. Can I go dark for a minute? Can I go kind of like, I know it's like evening time and stuff, but what would happen if, now I'm not going to single anybody out on here, but what would happen if all of a sudden we didn't have any other jobs or any other income coming in? We weren't doing the activities in real estate to generate income. What would happen? Okay, actually, I'm going to ask that question. So we have no other income, not generating it, making the choice not to because we're not doing the activities. What's happening?
And we're over here struggling with no money, trying to figure out life.
Okay, stay off of mute for a minute because I'm going to ask you a question. Okay, so we're struggling with life. Okay. So where could that lead us? Oh, I see here, get behind on bills. Yep. Where else could that lead us? So now we're getting behind on bills. Maybe we are.
Homeless. Yeah, so we could be homeless out in the streets.
Let's go. We could be homeless. Okay. Next thing you know, I'm like looking up on Google how to rob banks. Next thing you know, I'm in jail. Right. Next thing you know, I have to protect myself. Like, let's, now that's obviously a scenario none of us want. Right. But does it happen to people? Not, obviously, I'm not talking about the extreme, but do people or could people struggle with bills? Do people struggle with bills?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Do we, it's easy. Here's the thing. It's easy when we're kind of just dabbling, right? We're kind of doing a little dabbling over here. We have our job, we're kind of dabbling over here. Right. Now, this is a hobby. Now, I do know a few agents where real estate, like, no, I love my job. I'm not quitting my job, make great money. I need a pension, like in 5 years or whatever. Like, this is a hobby for whenever, to get ready for when I retire. Cool. You're good. Keep it a hobby. Get some few houses, help your friends and family. Like, awesome. But if this is something you are ready for and you want, what is the reason? What is the why that's going to actually get you up every day to do it? That's a live question. What is it? That's different for
Jamil posted quite a few things in the chat.
start rethinking how to be recession proof, have residual income, passive incomes. I wouldn't have to deal with that dark reality that could happen to any of us. Love
Hey,
that.
can y'all hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh, we can now. Hey.
All right, so I got a little quietness now. The kids quieted down a little bit. So my big why would be um I was looking at a podcast a while ago, and ever since I heard what these two entrepreneurs said, they were talking to each other on the podcast. The one guy, he owns a podcast, but it stuck with me and it hit me like a ton of bricks since then. And with the one guy asked the other guy, he was like, doesn't it feel so good to not have to ask permission to come outside? And if you know, you know what that means. Like, I'm at a job and I got to worry about, well, if I call out, is it going to hurt me? If I call out, am I going to get paid? With my job now, like, I could request a personal day, but I could get denied. Like, but if you got financial freedom and you your own boss, you don't have to worry about asking permission to come outside. So that hit me like a ton of bricks. And ever since then, like, I've been chasing that's my goal. I want to be able to say that. Like, I know I don't have to ask anybody's permission to come outside. I'm fine. So that's really my big why. That's my big why. Yeah.
Yes. I love
You're preaching today.
Oh, that was
A little bit.
He's
no,
preaching.
that was fantastic. I hope you write that. I hope you have that written down somewhere. And if you do not, if it's
Yeah.
not written down, please write it down. And here's why I say
Got you.
the reason why it's important to document this, to write things down, is we get busy. We get busy, right? Kids, family, work, 2 jobs, bills. All of a sudden I came in my kitchen Sunday morning and found out that I have a cabinet of all these like alcoholic beverages, and 2 of them exploded and started. It was crazy. So like now things happen, right? I was like all planned to go somewhere. That didn't happen. We had to clean the whole kitchen, right? Things happen. We get busy. And what happens is life takes over. It steps in, it takes over. It's like grasps us. And we're like, sometimes we're like grasping for air, right? And it is so great and is so beneficial to be able to pick up wherever you wrote it, recommend a journal, pick up that journal, open it up and be like, and that should be in the very front, by the way. That should be right in the front. You open it up, you read it, and it reminds you. It reminds you of why you're doing what you're doing. It reminds you of the days where everybody's hanging up on you and you're getting cursed out, and 2 buyers just decided to not buy and wait till next spring, right? Which happens, right? And all craziness is breaking loose. If the why is not big enough, but powerful enough to you, then when you read it, it should give you the push you need. Right? So again, if you do not have that written down, both Jamil and every single person on here, write it down. You will need to read it. So let's talk about money. Let's talk about money. Okay. So here's the thing with money. It's interesting. So we just talked about life, right? Think about this. Think about the organization of these slides, right? We talk about life. What do you want the life to look like, right? So picture like I'm talking with my hands right now because I have nothing like right on around me. So up here is the life you want, right? Here is what you are working to achieve, which, by the way, anything that you wrote down as your big life is achievable within 5 years if you want it. And you work to get it. Okay. Then you have the why. The why keeps you going to be able to get to that life you want. The why is the push. The why is that person behind you giving the big kick in the rear. Okay. And then within that, We have the money. Pardon me a second. There's a sneeze coming. I'm just letting y'all know. Nope. Okay. So 6 core competencies of a business. We talk about lead generate all the time. Simply have a conversation, right? Today in Bold, they did 2 activities. Each of them were 15 minutes. One was a texting activity to just reconnect with people, talk to people. I did not write down the numbers, but there was a number of referrals getting appointments set, or just people just reconnecting, just saying hi. How are you? It's been a while, right? Presenting to buyers and sellers to get agreements. So we talk to people, that's lead generate, to set appointments, to be able to then present to those buyers and sellers to get them to sign and say, yes, you're my agent. I like and trust you, and you're my agent. To then, if it's buyers, show the buyers homes on the market. If it's a seller, we're marketing their house, right? Then they each go under contract, or they each were, now they all, now we're ready to write contracts or negotiate contracts. And now we're all under contract and we're coordinating to get to the settlement table. It does not end when it's under contract. You have a whole journey to go to the settlement table. And then you have a check. You were handed the magic check, okay, which is called gross commission income, or GCI, which that check, unless you have capped at your market center, that needs to be managed. Don't go out and take that full check and go, on a shopping spree and buy tons of shoes. Okay. Now, if you don't have this, I'll add this in here. If you do not have a separate bank account, please, within the next week, you can go online and set it up in like 15 minutes. Okay, this is not taking long. Sometime this week, I'll say this week, get a bank account just for real estate. All your commissions go in there. You can manage it. I recommend both a checking and a savings. The savings will be for Uncle Sam, meaning taxes. I'm not a CPA. I will not tell you what amount to put away for that. Do your own research on that one, right? But we need to manage our money, right? So let's say you have a listing, and the listing is we're going to use a $400,000 listing. I like that number. Now, let's say you have a listing and you do 6%. Okay. Now, at 6%, 3.5% should go to you, the listing agent. You're the one spending the money on the photography and the marketing and all of that. And then 2.5% to the buyer agent. Not 3 and 3. You're spending the money, they're not. Right? So 6%, again, of 400,000 does not all go to you. 3.5% of it will go to you. 2.5% will go to that other agent. Then, depending on your market center, if you've capped yet, if you haven't capped yet, you got the market center stuff. Business expenses, by the way, market center is called cost of sale. Business expenses, that's putting money back into your business, right? To offset anything. A good rule of thumb when you're first starting out is like, well, okay, I have this check. What should I do with it? All right. Very first thing, when you actually get your check from the market center, after you collect your money, after everything else is done, is first put a percentage away for taxes. Please do that. Do not get stuck. Ooh, please put that away. Then take 10% of what's left. Take 10% of it, whatever, even if 10% is like $100, take 10% and put it back into the business. Now, maybe you put it aside to do something later with, but put it back into the business. Save it for your business. Okay. And then 10%, if you want to invest for yourself in passive wealth, by the way, and you're like, I don't have the funds to invest yet, and I need to save funds, from every commission check, just start with 10. That's a simple number. It starts small, right? If you want to do more, you totally can. If you have another job supporting you and you're able to do more, do more. But if you don't, 10% is kind of a, okay, I can live with that number. 10% put away for your passive wealth fund, right? That means for your investments, whatever type of investments you want. So you get your money, taxes, 10% back into your business for future use on whether it's marketing, running Facebook ads, whatever you want that to be, right? And then 10% off to the side for future investment building. The rest that's left, all yours. Do what you want with. Pay down your bills really fast to get out of debt faster, right? If you haven't read, this book's it's interesting. Some people really like this, some people don't. But I will share with you. So years ago, I worked at a university, and never thought I was leaving. I was there for 7 years. I was director at the university and making fairly good money, just living my life. And then all of a sudden, the VP of the university came in and said, we're closing down in 30 minutes. Everybody's out. We're shutting down business. 10,000 people laid off in one day. Yeah. So at that moment, the way my husband were living and I were living, most of it was coming from me. So I will say the next year or two, the amount of credit card debt was huge. We had to live off that. Okay, tons of debt. I bought this book. Again, some people like it, some people don't. So if you don't judge me. To each his own. Okay. It worked for me though. So I bought a book, Mark Ramsey. No, David Ramsey. David Ramsey? Oh my goodness. Why am I drawing a blank? Is it David Ramsey? It's literally sitting in my living room right now to the left of me. Yep. Dave Ramsey. There you go. Dave Ramsey. That's what it is. So I bought a book, Dave Ramsey, all about getting out of debt and how to pay things down and pay things down. Still a work in progress. I will all share with you. So again, I say that story to say that no matter where you are in life, when you get when you get your commission check and you get your next commission check and you get your next commission check, it is so easy for us to be like, yes, I'm going to go do this. But think about that life you just wrote down. Okay, look at what life you wrote down, the life you want, and then make choices about that commission check based on the life that you want. Now, here's the thing. If your life is all about living to today, I do recommend 10% back in your business, and don't forget taxes. But if you're like, I never want investment properties, I don't want that, it's a whole other conversation, but that's fine. That's your choice, right? If you're like, I just want to take the rest of it and just travel and have fun and live life, that is your life then. Do it. But if that's not, and you want this other life in the future, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years down the line, make that check work for that future. Any questions on any of that? Oh, Jamil, I love this. I definitely want to be able to say I can retire early. I can taste it. Regardless of what it's going to take for me. I am excited to sit down with you. He just joined. Was it last week, right? Didn't you join us last week?
Sorry, yeah. You can hear me?
Yeah, it was like
Hello?
just
Yeah.
brand new
Yep,
agent.
yeah, it was last
Literally
week.
just got
Yep,
in the
yep.
business last week.
Yeah, last week. Yeah.
last week. Oh, I am
Yep.
excited to sit down with you.
Yeah, so what happened is like what's really been pushing me besides what I said, that conversation that I heard with them entrepreneurs, I started rebuilding my credit a couple years ago. And I just came across a lot of entrepreneurs, all ages, all races, and it's like what they're doing, whatever journey, like what you just said about what you want to do with your commission checks, like whatever that journey is, I salute it because like certain people still, for me, have that, no offense to anybody, but got the slave mindset that feel that, like what you said, like that's messed up. You worked for a company, you thought you was good, and all of a sudden they just said, "Oh well, time to go. You're fired."
30
It's
minutes,
like,
pack your bags.
yeah.
Yep.
So it's like I don't want to have to deal with that. And with my company, I don't know if anybody knows MTA. I work for MTA. I've been with MTA for 12 years. If you're not in a certain position in the company, I feel like you're not safe. I mean, you're not safe, period, because it's not your company. They can just fire you. But for me, being an operator, I'm just a number. I don't want to be that. And I've had, besides your situation, I've had a manager tell me, I had a situation at work, and I ain't trying to prolong the story, but I had a manager tell me, a superintendent, tell me that I let you back to work. So in his mind, he felt like he's in control of me. Like, oh, you're a little slave. Oh, I let you back to work. If it wasn't because of me, you wouldn't be back in here. You'll still be out of work, not getting paid. I don't want nobody to feel like they had that kind of control over me. So with me rebuilding my credit, seeing these entrepreneurs, like I've just been chasing this financial freedom. Like that's really pushing me. Like, I mean, everybody's a different kind of learner. So however it takes for me to learn whatever I need to do, I'm gonna do it. Like once I lock in, I lock in. So like that's really been pushing me. Like I want to get away from that because that's messed up. When I heard you say that with the job, you think you safe, and they just say, "Oh, you just pack your things up. It's time to go." And that it could have stressed you out. Like I mean, nobody knows what you was going on in your mind at that time. You might have had some bills you needed to pay. You got to take care of your kids, take care of home, and now you're stressing. Yeah.
Stress is an understatement. All right. I literally laid up in my bed and I'm like the most go-getter person. I'm like, let's go. And I literally laid up in my bed for like a full-on week. And then I'm like sitting at Starbucks, like, let me update my resume. What am I doing with my life? Horrible feeling. I don't wish on anybody. And it's true, right? So if that, I hear your passion. You're like, I don't want, every day we question like, okay, what's to come? What's to come, right? And we don't have to, if we choose, God, I can't use that word enough. We don't have to live in that world if we don't want to. Right. And if we choose not to, I'm actually going to give an assignment to anybody on here who has said, now, by the way, anybody who's on here who this doesn't fit, you could totally do this assignment too. And I'll explain in just a minute what that is. So anybody who raised their hand, who nod their head, who put in the chat box, one of my big life goal, one of my, for my big life, one of my things is to leave my other job and be able to do real estate successfully full-time. Right. So the activity that, if you have not done this yet, this is very, very powerful. And it should be your very first goal you go after. This should be the very first goal you were striving to be, you were striving towards. Okay. Let me take my screen off here for a minute. So here's what you're going to do. Number one, and nobody share your numbers on here. I'm not asking for any numbers, right? Just write this down and do this activity like this weekend. Number one is you're going to sit there and now this is the hard part of the activity. You're going to have to sit there and go through all your expenses, food you eat, coffees you do. Now, here's the thing. Don't judge yourself. You're going to start judging yourself, right? Like when I first did this, I'm like, wow, I spent a whole lot on Starbucks. Now, my husband and I actually ended up buying a coffee maker based on that activity and start making coffee at home to save a boatload of money. But write down, make a list, Excel sheet, piece of paper, whatever you want to do, of all of your monthly expenses. Gas, rent, mortgage, electricity, food shopping, Entertainment. Do you go out? Do you watch movies? Do you go to the restaurants? Like, what do you do? Right. One way to do this activity is literally just go to your bank, look at your things for the month of September, and just write them all down and start categorizing them. Then go back to August, do it for like 2 months, right? You need like to see, like, are they around the same? Then look at that total number. What does everything add up to? Times that number by 6, 6 being 6 months. So look at September, go into your bank account, dive in there, grab a pen and paper, and just start writing everything down. Look at August, write everything down. This is not an easy activity. It's also not it's going to take you a good few hours. It took me a whole weekend to do this. Right now, not like a whole weekend. It was like, I think 2 hours Saturday, 3 hours Sunday. So after you write down again, August and September, look to see if there's a huge difference. If there's a big difference, I want you to look to see why. And then if you need to go back again to July, do another month, right? What you're trying to see is what is your average spend every month? And then what is it on? Where's all the categories? Right? It's very eye-opening. Not always in a good way. Then again, take that number. If you're like, okay, I can't skimp anywhere. Like, this is what I spend on food, and this is why I do this. And I like to go out to restaurants. I'm a foodie. I love going to restaurants. I'm not going to restaurants. Now, I've narrowed it down, right? I used to go out to restaurants a lot. Now it's like once a week, right? But I'm also not going to not have my girls' night with margaritas. Sorry. I love my Thursday night margarita night, right? Afifa, if you were like here in Towson, I'm sorry, or Maryland, we totally go to margaritas. Like, I see that. So that is factored in. My margarita night is factored in. Write that number down. You're going to times that number, that exact number, like get it to the dollar. Don't round up, don't round down, get it to the dollar. If it is $4,722, times that by 6. That's your first goal number. Because that's the number you need in savings after taxes. That's your first number you need in savings to live your everyday life you're living right now. That's the number that when you hit that number times 6 in savings, I usually recommend to agents walk into work and quit. The reason why I say 6 months is we are in a market where it takes a little longer right now to get some business. 6 months gives you a nice cushion. Not a forever cushion, but a nice cushion. 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, too soon. Sorry, too soon. It's too little. It's too, you'll be stressed more than you want to be, which actually hurts your mindset, which actually hurts your results. Any questions on that activity? All right. Again, if you're looking to quit your job, that's the first activity you do. And that's that first goal. Okay. All right. So let's dive in. Hold on here. Let me jump back in here. Oops. Now, this just shows you a difference between what's a cost of sale versus an operating expense, right? Cost of sale is anything market center wise, referral fees, things like that. Operating expense is how you run your business, right? By the way, if you're not tracking your mileage, get an app on your phone. There's so many free ones. So much. There's Mile IQ. Don't quote me on these. Do your own research. All right. Do your own research. Disclaimer. Do not be like, this didn't work. I'm blaming Ilana. Okay. This is being recorded. So there's Mile IQ. There's another one I think called Hurdle, HURDL. There's QuickBooks Lite. I'm not a big fan of that because they keep sending me messages every day trying to get me to upgrade. And I'm like, that's kind of annoying. I like Mile IQ personally. But track all that. There's a ton of operating expenses in real estate, and there's a ton of tax write-offs. more in real estate than any other industry from what I'm told. Okay. By the way, anybody attending anything that costs money for business, that's a write-off. I go to Mega Camp every year for in February, I'll go to Vegas for Keller Williams Family Reunion. So we're about 20,000 real estate agents descend on Vegas for like 4 days of just diving in and learning and networking, and just an amazing, amazing experience. And it's a complete write-off, which is awesome, right? So just taking control of your business means understanding what's going in monetarily, what's coming out, and where it's being spent, right? But again, start tracking it. Even if it's just a little piece of paper, start tracking it somewhere. All right. So getting clarity on your why, we talked about that. To plan for your future, set your personal and business budgets. I mentioned open additional bank accounts. If you don't have that, super easy. Start that this week. Okay. Tomorrow, jump on a bank, open a new account. If you go to kwconnect.com, that's KWCONNECT, kwconnect.com, and in the search bar, you type MREA chart of accounts. There is an entire Excel spreadsheet download that gives you, it's a little overwhelming if you're brand new, just warning you, but it breaks down everything in the business financially. Purchase, download tax accounting software. That's a preference. That's up to you. Okay. Hire an accountant, CPA, attorney, tax advisor. If you're brand new, you don't do this right away, but it is important as a brand new agent to have a conversation with an accountant who knows real estate, who works with agents. They have to work with agents because we're a different industry. And if they haven't worked with agents, they won't know all the write-offs. I know that because I had an accountant and he didn't know it. So I had to switch. Set dates to calculate and pay your estimated taxes. That's always recommended. Don't get caught off guard and all of a sudden be like, oh, shoot, I now owe $30,000. And just prepare for your future, right? What do you want that to be? Are you wanting to open up separate account to start preparing for your investment portfolio or savings, insurance, 401ks? By the way, passive wealth through real estate investments is like having your own 401k. Doesn't replace it. I still recommend that, or an IRA or something like that, right? Whatever. It depends on what your family, what's beneficial for you and your, whoever you and whoever. Okay. Let's give that a minute. Now, I'm not going to go through how to get paid, all that stuff. Every market center I find does something a little bit different, but just know that everything flows through Command. Command is that ecosystem for your business, right? Whether you use it for everything, that's totally up to you. But it truly is your ecosystem for your business, right? When you truly master it, which by the way, takes at least 6 months to master, minimum 6 months. So if you're like, oh my God, it's been 2 weeks, so difficult. Yeah, because it's only been 2 weeks. You have another 5 months and 2 weeks left, right? But if you get in there and you're working it daily, it actually becomes like your personal assistant. There is a goal tracker in there. You can put your goal in and it will spit out how many appointments you need, right? There is your database health score, which shows you how healthy is your system, meaning do you have names, numbers, email addresses, addresses, right? Right now this is a freebie for tonight. This isn't in the slides, but I'm going to give it because it's the best time of year to give this. I only do this time of year on Ignite. You know all those people we have in our phone and on our social media accounts that we just haven't talked to in forever and a day, and we're kind of embarrassed to reach out and call them, right? We're like, let me just skip over them, right? This is actually the greatest time of year between now and January, now and the end of January, to call them and text them. Now, I'm not talking about call them and text them and just be like, hey, oh my God, Kim, it's been forever. Are you looking to buy or sell a house? No. Don't talk real estate because you haven't talked to them. You haven't earned the right. What you're doing there is just simply, hey, like, hey, Afifa, it has been way, like, if I'm texting or I'm calling, same thing. It's been way too long. And I'm scrolling through my phone, or maybe I saw something on Facebook. I'm like, man, I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw, your post with your kids. Oh my God, I can't believe how big they got. And I just want to reach out and see how you've been. How are you? That's it. That's the whole thing. How are you? I know, it's like groundbreaking, right? They're going to appreciate it. The other thing that's really easy to do this time of year is check in and be like, hey, it's been forever. I actually am just really want to reconnect with people I've lost touch with over the years. How have you been? Like, what are your plans for the holidays? And then towards the end of the call, to get a cleaner database health, which allows you to then have all this automation, meaning automated emails, automated text. You can automate even mailings. So much automation. It's like a personal assistant in your pocket. You can actually ask them, hey, Afifa, I don't know if I have like the right information for you because it's been so long. And now I'm not going to say I'm going to mail holiday cards if I'm not going to mail holiday cards. Right. So if you're going to mail any sort of holiday card or Happy New Year card or Happy Halloween card, whatever you like to do, I might say, hey, Afifa, what's the best address for you these days? Just I'm updating my information and I want to mail some holiday cards to you, or, get a holiday card to you. Again, not can I have your address? What's the best address? That verbiage promotes a response that's positive. Right? What's the best email for you? I'd love to, stay in touch. I'm not talking about real estate, just in general. Okay. The success system, your daily success. If each day the only thing you did was this, or each week the only thing you did was this, you'd be crazy successful and you'd absolutely start working towards living whatever you wrote, that big life that you just wrote down. So what this breaks down to is 10 conversations per day. Now, if you work a job and you're like, I get home, I got kids, I got dinner, I got this, I got that, that's hard. Okay, do you have a day where you have maybe a little more time? Right? One of our agents actually set aside, he's been struggling a lot, and he set aside time on a Saturday. And he's like, you know what? I'm just going to bang out calls and just talk to people on a Saturday and knock it all out on Saturday. Right? Add 10 contacts to your command or your system you're using. Your phone is not a system because you can't automate it. Right? You can't set it and forget it. So add contacts. Now, these might be add contacts from your phone because you haven't added them yet. They might be add contacts from social media there. They might be add contacts from, maybe you're out and about an event and you just met people. Add the contacts, right? You can get maybe you are calling for sell by owners. Add those contacts. Whether they said yes or no, add them, right? Now, the third one here, I will tell you, the majority of agents do not do anymore, but yet it is still on here because it is a lost art, and it truly is an art. Handwritten notes. Now, whether this is 10 a day, which is supposed to be, or, okay, do 10 a week. That's going to be way more than most agents out there. Handwritten notes, don't overthink it, right? Go on Amazon or Target or wherever you want to go, dollar store, buy one of those big boxes of like just thank you cards, right? Doesn't need to be fancy. And the handwritten notes are to anybody. Let's say somebody like today, for example, a whole bunch of agents got referrals. Every one of those agents should be sending a note card to that person who referred. I don't care if the referral comes through, if they ever talk to a referral, whatever. Send a thank you, right? Hey, Kim, thank you so much for referring your coworker, Joe, to me. I really hope I can help him out whenever he's ready. Referrals are the lifeblood of my business. Hope you have an amazing day. That's it. That's the card. Sign, sent. Now, me personally, I do throw in a little gift card. You can do a gift cards after the fact. You can't say, if you give me this, I will give you that. That's illegal. Okay. But I'll throw in a little gift card in there after the fact. Right. It might be like $5 Dunkin' Donuts or something. Right. Nothing crazy. Or the handwritten note card. Maybe the handwritten note card is simply to someone you haven't talked to in a while to reconnect. Hey, was thinking about you. Thought I'd go total old school and write a hand note card. We all get bills in the mail. It's kind of, exhausting. You will stand out. People will love these. Okay. Social media engagement. Now, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever you're doing, right? How are you engaging? So 10, oops, hold on here. Give me a second. So how are you engaging? Why did the screen go off? Did it go back on? Can you see it? Okay, cool. Oh my goodness, it'll get back. All right. How are you engaging on social media? A good rule of thumb is 10 comments. Now, I always get this backwards. I'm going to go backwards. The one is you're actually like DMing someone. You are personally like, instead of, how when people, how social media reminds us when people's birthdays are, which by the way, I love, it's awesome. And everybody comments, and then there's like, 100, 200 comments on them for some people, and you just get lost in the comments, right? Stop getting lost in the comments. Click private message, DM, whatever you like to call it, right? Hey, just want to wish you, I do funny gifts. I don't even type. I just find a GIF, send it. Okay. But maybe you're like, hey, want to wish you a really happy birthday. I hope you have an amazing day. Privately. Maybe you see someone, who, like right now, Halloween season coming up, and people are going to be posting pictures of their pets with Halloween costumes on, their kids with Halloween costumes on, them wearing Halloween costumes. So maybe you maybe you DM them and be like, oh my God, Afifa, your kids were super adorable in their Halloween costumes. Loved it. Did they have a fun time? And are you stealing their candy? Right? I'm not going to throw that in the comments. I want to private message you. That starts dialogue. That rebuilds relationships. It gets stronger relationships. Okay. What are you doing enrichments? What are you doing to learn, to grow? Right? Well, that's an easy one right now. You're all in Ignite, right? Appointments. Are you setting them? Can't have a closing without them. It is not possible. You can't close something without an appointment. Signed agreements, and then of course closings, right? So there's a reason there's an order here. Conversations don't just lead to a closing. You have to have conversations with follow-up to be able to set appointments to get them to sign to get that closing. If you do not have this written down, take a picture, hang this up wherever you're doing your work. This right here is your system. Don't overthink it. All right. Any questions on this one? No? All right. We talked about that. So let's talk about accountability. Now, there's a lot of different ways. The one thing I will share with you, though, is self-accountability is almost impossible. Now, when you write down your why and it's powerful enough and you look at it every day, it can give you the push that you need, but it is not going to be, we are our worst enemies. We let ourselves off the hook too easily. So number one, what type of accountability do you like? Right? And then find that accountability partner. Maybe it's a fellow agent. Maybe it's a good, well, I don't recommend a good friend. I'll tell you why. But maybe it's a fellow agent. Just make sure you are in line with knowing each other's goals, knowing each other's why, knowing each other's big life we want. Because you can't help push someone and hold them accountable without knowing that. Right? Maybe your Merck Center has a coach and your coach is your partner. Maybe there's a mentor. Maybe you hire someone, depending on where you are financially, right? And then the tools behind that, well, actually, let me go back to accountability partner before I get to tools. The reason why I say you might not want to have a good friend as your accountability partner is we let ourselves off the hook too easily. It is also easy for our friends to let us off the hook, right? If you partner with someone, so let's say Jamil and I partner, and he calls me. Now I now know he has some goals. He's like, I am done working for these people. Get me out. Like, I'm ready. So let's say I'm like, okay, to get out, I know that he needs X amount of money. I'm just going to make up a number right now, $50,000. Okay. Which means I know he needs six closings, depending on the price point. Okay. Now, let's say all of a sudden he calls me one day. Yeah, I didn't really feel like doing anything today. I got really busy with the kids. Which, by the way, that happens. I get it. Maybe tomorrow. I'm gonna do it tomorrow. And I'm his accountability partner. I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's cool. Tomorrow's cool. All right. And then tomorrow comes and he doesn't do anything. Yeah, I didn't do my lead gen. I didn't talk to anybody today about real estate. I didn't have conversations. And as accountability partner, I'm like, you know what? I get it, man. We're busy. Whew. Yeah. That's okay. Just make it up tomorrow. Make it up tomorrow. Am I the right accountability partner? I'm waiting for someone to come off mute, and it looks like Jamil's like, I'm ready to go off mute, but I can't.
I'm here.
No, I love it. Kim's like, no. I was like, no. Right? Now, here's the thing. Life happens. There was an agent today who committed to something, but he fell and got hurt. Okay? Like, he's literally legit laid up. Yeah, your health comes first. Please lay on a couch and don't move today. Like, you were actually hurt. Don't do anything right now. Right? But then there's, so whoever you choose, number one, share your goals with them, share your why, share what you want in life. And then also share how you'd like to be held accountable. Do you want tough love? Are you okay with that? Right? Do you want a little bit of leeway, but not much? Right? And then there's tools, right? There's the 411, which is my personal favorite tool ever, right? It breaks down the one annual goal you have, 1 month. Okay, so here's my annual. I want $100,000 annually. What's my month? What do I need to do in October? How many appointments do I need to go on? How many agreements signed? How many people do I need to talk to? How many social media posts, etc.? How many times do I want to practice the contract? And then the 4 is 4 weeks. Okay, what do I need to do this week? Time blocking, then you put it into your calendar. If it's not on your schedule, it doesn't exist. If you looked at your calendar, okay, true question right now. If all of you looked at your calendar right now for this week, by the way, if you don't have a calendar, get that by tomorrow. If you looked at your calendar right now for this week, is it aligned to lead you towards that big life you want? Do you have time blocks in there to lead to production and commissions and closings and helping people? I saw one head nod. He's like, yes, it is. If it's not, that's okay. It's only Tuesday. Now, I'm not letting you off the hook, because you have tomorrow morning to get your calendar in order for this week. Okay. And then focus on your one thing. Now, one thing, we might have multiple things, meaning I got family, I got kids, I got this other job, I got this. But when you're in your time block, be in that time block. Be in that moment. All right. I want to open it up right now. What'd you guys hear? We talked about the daily success system, 10 conversations, 10 contacts, 10 written notes, social media, importance of accountability.
What was the question?
What did you hear in that? Again, we just went through a number of different again, we talked about the success system, right? 10 conversations a day, 50 a week, 10 contacts add to command, right? What that success system looks like. We talked about accountability just now and finding that person, because self-accountability is the hardest thing ever. And it doesn't always lead us to the success we want. So what do you do with that information? You just heard that information. Now, what do you do with it? What are you going to do with it?
Take action.
Repeat that.
Take action.
Okay. What's one action you could take out of anything you just heard? What's one action you could take? I love that.
Start getting a little more organized, like you said, with a calendar, setting more time blocks, possibly getting somebody that could push me, like a trainer. Like if you got a gym trainer, I mean, you got the ones that's nice, and then you got the ones that's they don't want to hear no excuses. So things like that.
I'm going to guess you're the one who is not the nice one and doesn't want to hear any excuses. That's the one that I think that you need in your life right now. Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm around. I make a lot of excuses because I mean, exercising is definitely a good part of everybody's life. I mean, health, it helps you live longer. But I definitely like being around different. I got friends that work out real heavy, and sometimes I like to work out with different people because they'll push you to a limit that you didn't even think you could get to. So I feel like I definitely could use somebody like that in the real estate world.
Love it. Love
Yeah.
that. So if you haven't seen this, this is Keller Williams International's mission statement. Careers worth having, businesses worth living, lives worth living, experiences worth giving, and legacies worth leaving. How does this mission statement align with what you wrote down for your big life? How do they connect? Does anything that you wrote down for your big life fit in any of this? I heard, I think it was a FIFA who said generational wealth. which goes back to legacies worth leaving, right? If anybody wrote down, whether it's travel or I can't think of anything other than travel right now with this beach behind me, fake beach. Well, fake picture of a beach. But experiences. So the very first part of this is let's work on your career you want to have. Not the one that people tell you should have, not the one that you're like, well, maybe I could have this. I'm saying the one you want to have. The one you deserve to have, which goes back to your value proposition, right? You all bring something to the table. Get real about your situation and get right about what you're doing. Bring a greater sense of clarity, priority, and focus to your work. Is it super hard to focus sometimes? Like all the time? Many times, yes. So what can you do? The time blocking helps, right? Putting in your calendar, but what can you do, right? Think about that. Just give some thought to that. Like, what can you change this week? Tomorrow? What can you change by tomorrow? Well, I know some of you work more on the weekend than the weekday, so I'm just going to say this week in general. When I say work, I'm talking real estate. What can you do this week to help you personally bring more focus to your work? We talk about clarity regarding what you want for your life, figuring out your big why, getting clarity around your number, right? What do you need to do every week to getting clarity around, okay, do I need 1 appointment this week? Do I need 2 appointments? What do I need this week? But I want to ask about that word focus. What can you do this week to bring more focus to your work? What could you do? What do you guys think? It's a difficult word. Looking in the chat box. I love all those chats, by the way. I love how the chat box being like blown up. This is awesome. Nobody's putting anything in the chat box. Nobody. Okay, I love it. Yes, stay in line with your calendar. Love it. Right. So the first thing you want to do is look at your calendar and say, okay, do I have the right items on my calendar that lead me to conversations to lead to appointments or connections? Right? Maybe it's just let me reconnect with people. Do I have that on my calendar? If the answer is yes, then you ask yourself, is it realistic? Here's what I mean by that. If you work and you get home, let's say at 5 o'clock at night, and you wrote in your calendar 5 o'clock, let's say you get off of work at 5 and you wrote in your calendar 5 to 7, connect with 10 people. Which, by the way, is a great thing to write. But if you get off at work at 5, but then let's say you have a 20-minute drive, you're not home till 5:20. Now, are you breathing at all? Are you taking a bathroom break? Are you getting some water? Like, what are you doing? Or are you like, yep, 5:20, my laptop's already open. I'm good to go, ready to go, right? So when I say get clear with your calendar, it's look at your calendar for tomorrow and this week and say, is it aligned with my production goals and what I want to do? And is it realistic based on what I know I have in my life? Now, that doesn't mean throw it all out the window and don't do it. It just means be real with it. Meaning if you get home at 5:20, maybe it's, I'm going to put a timer on my phone for 10 minutes and give myself a 10-minute break when I get home to do whatever I need to do. And then when that timer gets off, I start. And then I'm going to put a timer on, go until 7 o'clock, and I end, and then I go have dinner and enjoy the rest of my night. Right. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about clarity, focus, and all of that. Love that. Thank you for sharing that calendar thing. Love it. All right, so let's summarize. We talked about the value proposition. If you did not write that down and work on yours, please work on it. If you did write it down, read it over and over and over again and have it so memorized and type it up to where you can send it to people on email. You can send it in text. You can say it to a stranger when you meet them because you believe it, right? Make it short, sweet, to the point. Know your why. Your why is going to push you. If you don't know the why, or the why is not powerful enough, like that person in their car they wanted, he didn't care enough about it, it's not pushing them. Know your profit goal. What do you need? How much money? Break down that money backwards. And if you don't know how to do this, see if you have a coach, see your coach in the Market Center. You can also plug it into the goal section of Command, and you can say, I want $250,000, and it will literally break down exactly what you need for transactions. Okay. Get really clear on what you need to hit that goal. How many do you need in 2024? And October right now starts next year. This is your next year right now. Happy New Year, everybody. This is your next year. Have a smart database. A smart database is one that works for you, meaning start adding people to it, start using it, start following up, start putting notes in there, right? Smart money business. Manage your money. Open up a new savings account. Open up a new account if you don't have it. When you get the commissions, break down, okay, what percentages go where? Accountability. Figure out what you want that to look like for you, and then go find the who and say to them, this is what I need. I need to be held accountable, and this is why. And then finally, learning. Well, what's really cool is you've all proven this one because you showed up, even to the last night of the Ignite session. Many people do not, y'all know, who was on here in the first night? Okay. Anybody happen to notice a drop off in numbers? Okay. That's normal for every class you will ever take, especially Ignite. So there's a direct correlation between the agents who get through all of Ignite. And when I say all, if you missed a night or two, like find it when it comes around or go on YouTube and watch it, but you still did the majority. The agents who really went through and did Ignite and have put in things into action, have implemented things. Almost all of them, I can't say all, so there's always a few, are outproducing the agents who attend the first night or maybe 2 nights and that's it, and nothing else. And they're like, nope, I'm good. I don't need that. They typically outproduce them by about 146%. That is a large number. That is a nationwide fact number, not me just randomly making something up, which sometimes I like to do. Sometimes it's just like making up numbers. So congratulations. Like you have all, actually, let me take a picture of the screen real quick. No, I'm not taking a picture to share. Don't worry, you're not all like going out there on social. I'm taking a picture so I remember who's on this, because you're going to be sent an email certificate with your name on it that I highly recommend you hang up somewhere because it's just motivational for you, right? And if you have it, I recommend printing it on thicker paper, right? Kim, I'll be printing yours for you on the thicker paper, so you'll get it in an email, but you're in my office, so.
What office are you guys in?
We are at Keller Williams Legacy in Towson, Maryland. We're in Towson, Maryland, which is right above Baltimore. It's Baltimore County.
Okay. That
Yeah,
I had met someone who was looking for something in Prince George. Does that sound like something?
Oh,
Prince-
yeah, Prince George's County. Yep.
Oh, Prince George County. Okay,
Yeah.
is that close to you guys?
It's not far.
Oh, okay.
Do you know if it's a buyer, seller, renter?
Buyer looking for a multifamily property.
So, I know this agent, I think her name is Kim, and she's attended all the sessions of Ignite as
I
well
know.
as
I
in the
always
board
see
today.
her
Now,
there.
I'm not sure if she drives to Prince George's County. Some
Mm.
agents, depending on the distance and where they live, some agents do, some don't. I know for myself when I was active in the field, I'm still active, but I'm referral based now. I almost always did because their price points are wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'm driving for that price point. $1,000 home. Let me get my car.
Yeah, I have the spreadsheet from when we first started Ignite, but there was like 100 people in the class or something crazy. So,
It-
but I do see Kim up here all the time, and I know everyone always says they're from Maryland. So I was reaching out, I'm sliding into DMs, and she recently separated from her husband. But okay, but I was like, oh well, where did you go? She moved in with her sister, and they have kids, and so they're looking for a big multifamily home. And I was like, oh, what do you have an agent? Because I know some people in Maryland, which I didn't really know who was really in Maryland. She's like, well, I have an agent I think I like. I said, well, if you decide not to like her, let me know because I know some people.
So I'll share this. When someone says they have an agent, okay, the very first question we ask right after that is, have you signed with them? That's your question you ask. So anybody, listen, buyers and sellers know nothing about real estate. They're not in our industry. So when they say they have an agent, they might have like a neighbor who's giving them some advice and they're like, oh yeah, I'm in real estate. And they're like, oh yeah, I have an agent, but haven't actually worked with them. So when you ask that question, oh my God, okay, have you signed something? Now they're going to give you one of two responses. They're either going to say no, and then, okay, let's move in.
Right.
Let's work that. Let's get it. If they say yes, congratulate them, move on. Oh my God, congratulations. I wish you all the best. Have a great day.
But I might check back in 60 days just in case. You never know.
So again, it's every state's a little bit different. Here in Maryland, it's very strict when it comes to an agent even getting whiff of potentially taking their signed client. Like people will call Maryland Commission on these agents. Like it's yeah. So I'm always like, oh my God, congratulations. Bye. Have a great day. Bye. Actually, I forgot something. No. Let me back that sentence up. Congratulations. I wish you all the best. Who else do you know that I could help? Because I guarantee you there are other agents not asking them that. And this person might be like, oh my God, yeah, my cousin and my uncle, my roommate, and my best friend's dad, they're all looking. Like you never know, right? Because the other agent is not asking. 99% of the time they're not asking. So if we ask, we'll get. Cool. Yes. It's become stricter over the years. Again, that's why I like to ask that question, have you signed? Because if they say no, they are now mine. Like, not everybody. We can't win everyone, right? All right. So let's open this up. We're finishing in about 2 minutes here. I want to hear, now you put it in the chat or you come off mute. You have gone through so much throughout Ignite that I'm going to ask a really open-ended, broad question. What do you do with all that info now? What's next for you? What's your next? What are you implementing? First, let me rephrase that. What are you implementing first? You implement, you'll probably have like a laundry list of things, but you can't do everything all at once. What are you putting into action?
Hey, I'm here. Jamil,
Yeah.
you get me? So, with researching the market, like you was talking about earlier, what would I be looking for? And because it's all new to me, what would I be looking for, and how should I be using it in the business? Like, cause like I say, all this is new, so I'm trying to like, use what I can on my own time. So like, what
Mhm.
would I be looking for? What would I be looking for, and how to use it to my advantage, or I guess not to my advantage?
So researching the market for yourself for like investment stuff. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, so I know you were saying earlier, like we should like look at the market like on NAR or MAR to like learn it. But
Mm-hmm.
what would I be looking for? Like anything, like certain stats, like if people buying or not buying, or
Let me see if I can find, if I can't find this in the next like 30 seconds, I will have to hunt
okay,
it down. But I have so what you're I have a cheat sheet for what you look for in the market. Let me see if I can quickly find that for you. Um
my daughter's
so
over here trying to
what
talk.
you're really, really what you want to do is when we say get to know the market, it's and you're not learning the entire state, right? Just start with one neighborhood, right? Maybe it's a zip code, maybe it's a neighborhood, and that you're gonna maybe focus in for a little bit, or you have a lot of friends in, or maybe you just live around that neighborhood. And oh my God, she is so cute. I'm sorry, that face, look at that. Like, I can't. I'm like, I just want to like, okay. She is welcome in the office every day. Okay, any day. My daughter is grown, so I love borrowing other people's babies. That sounds weird as we're saying this recording right now. Just to, like hang out, like just makes me happy. Okay, sorry, sidetracked. Cute face. What you're looking for is what's average days on market, right? So maybe you go to Bright MLS, and when you have access, we'll teach you how to do this. And it is looking up things that have closed or gone under contract. And then we kind of scroll through and okay, what are days on market? Right? Maybe it's you look up certain areas, like multiple different zip codes or multiple different communities or neighborhoods, and it's how many things are coming to an active, right? So let's say you get a buyer today, and the buyer's like, yeah, so I really want to get a house in let me randomly name a neighborhood right now. Towson. Right? And they're like, yeah, really want to get a house in Towson, like for actually, let me use something different. I'm going to use Columbia, Maryland. I want to get a house in Columbia, Maryland. I want something for like 250,000. Now, anybody in Maryland knows that's not possible. Kim's like, nope. Mm-mm. So I know the market and I know that area. So I'm able to now educate that person and say, okay, well, let's talk through. First of all, I'm going to talk to your lender, right? If they're only approved for that amount, let's talk through, let's open up the locations, and here's why. Because I'm not going to be able to say that buyer, let's start looking at houses, because there's none, zero. And it's not because of the market, it's because that price and that location do not coexist unless it's like a true fixer-upper, right? So I know that about that location, right? Another thing is you might be working with let's say a seller. It's like, yeah, I really want to get my house in the market, but I don't know. I mean, our home's really selling right now. Now, if you have looked for a little bit, now it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to spout out like the most perfect percentage, right? But if you kind of have a good understanding around that area, be like, you know what? Actually, homes in this area I've noticed over the past like month or even just the past week, they've been selling for the most part, not every one of them, right? I'm not a crystal ball person, but they've been selling in like 3-4 days. And the few that sold just last week all closed above asking price. Now, we don't know how many offers that was. We don't know details, but did that sound knowledgeable?
Yeah, it definitely did. It's funny you say that. I know it's a little off topic, but I'm still on topic. I started watching this show over the weekend. It's on HBO, but I heard it's on HGTV too. It's called Unsellable Houses or Unsellable Homes, and it's two real estate agents, they twin sisters, and they like what you just said. Somebody try to sell a house, and they go talk to the client, and they see how long the house been on the market. They see why. They ask them what type of feedback have they gotten on the property as to why people wasn't probably buying. Now
Mhm.
I don't have that kind of funds, but like what you said a little while ago, like with your commission checks, like invest back into yourself. What they was doing was taking their own money, and if they needed to do any renovations on the properties, they would use their own money to fund the renovation. And their whole like business plan was working. Like everybody agreed to it. They had certain, like, it was one property that they got sold $100,000 over the price that the person was expecting, and the people was so happy. Like every episode I was watching, like it was just amazing the stuff they was doing with these people. I think they was in like Washington area, like Seattle, Washington type area. But it was just amazing what they was doing. I was just watching the show like almost all day because it was like amazing, like what they was doing, like taking their money, and certain people who needed to sell right away because of this situation. Somebody might have wanted to move, and yeah, they took their own money and did the renovations, and it worked. It worked every time.
I mean,
So I
that
was
so,
like,
and those are other things, right? Also knowing the market is, you should be called whatever lender partner that you have or your office has, get to know them, right? They should be your best friend, because you should be able to call. Number one, that's also a great person to share your goals with, because they can help you with that. And calling them, right? Maybe it's once every few weeks. Just be like, one of our guys is named Malcolm. So I might be like, hey, Malcolm, what should I know? What do I need to know right now that my buyers need to know? What do I need to know right now that I can be telling people? Right now, you're not the lender. Do not play lender. That is their job. Don't pretend to be one. Don't make judgments based on somebody saying, I only make this much, or my credit score, I can't afford this. Buyers don't know, and we don't know either. There's too many programs out there and too many locations and too many things that can help people these days. And things are coming out of the woodwork on different types of loans that people can get. Right. So don't pass judgment and pretend to be a lender, but call the lender and just get some information from it. Right. Just to have a little knowledge. Right. And I'll tell you, one of the greatest things is just start paying attention. If you are driving to work or from work, meaning your other job, not real estate, or you're driving to houses or from houses for showings or open houses, start paying attention to the neighborhoods. How many sale signs are you seeing? Right? Oh, wow, I was in this neighborhood. I just saw a for sale sign pop up. Wait a minute, I'm back in this neighborhood next week. There's another sign. Wow, okay. Right? Like just start really noticing.
And I will say, Jamil, it's so funny. I have a brother named Jamil. I will say for me, I kind of did the same thing. And I don't know if it was you who showed us the market analysis on FMLS. Was that you, or was that a different thing I was doing?
That wasn't me.
Okay. Well, first, 1 week I went out and looked at a bunch of new constructions, went out and spoke to the lenders that were on site, because sometimes they'll give you like extra, like, oh, if you use our lender, you get 5K, and or you can do this. So 1 week I went and did new construction. The next week I checked out just a bunch of open houses, and then I went to shadow an open house and to see like a lot of agents come in and out, and you can just hear them talking about, oh, well, I'm just checking this property out because I'm going to list a property if not too far away. And we just want to see like what the comps are in the area, because a lot of times when you do, well, for me, when I do CMAs, I'll see like people did a lot of renovations in their house. So what they think their house might be worth just based on the comps, once you get in and see the renovations, then it's probably different. But I think for me, like you said, like the knowing your numbers, because
Mhm.
you're going to sound real smart if you know your numbers at your market center. But I think just actually going out and seeing, like here in Atlanta, we have a lot of new construction. and just to see like, oh, where things are going up. And so when you do meet that person who contacts you for a random, hey, I'm looking for property in this area, you can say, hey, there's this new construction up over here, and this is the, about the price range or when it's going to be done. You just sound like you know what you're talking about. It's really, and that sounds bad, but it's really helpful because like you said, they don't know. And they ask you, and if whatever you don't know, say, you know what, I have a contact for that. Let me just check into that and get back to you at 2 o'clock or something. I wing everything. I just wing it. But it works because they don't know. But if you know your numbers, you should know your numbers.
That statement right there, here's the thing. You can't know everything, and you will never know everything. Ever. And if you try to, you will beat yourself up your entire real estate career, which is going to harm your mindset and harm your success. So you do need to know things. You do need to practice. You do need to study. You do need to talk to people, right? You want to have that knowledge, right? The more we have, the more confident we also are. And I love that verbiage. And we'll kind of end it here. I love, love, love that verbiage of, wow, that's a great question. I love what you just asked. Okay. I know things are changing like very rapidly in this market. I don't want to give you any wrong information. Let me go back. Let me gather that information for you of what's happening today. And I'm going to get back to you by, now here's the thing. What's that phrase? Hold on. Oh, under promise, over deliver. I always get that wrong. Is that right? Under promise, over deliver. It sounds right, as opposed to over promise, under deliver. Yep. Okay. So under promise, over deliver. There you go. So if it might take you a while to get back to them because you need to gather the information, don't tell them you're getting back to them in an hour. Because when you don't, you lost their trust. And the only thing you have in this business is your name and your trust. Okay. So if you say, hey, I'm going to get back to you within 24 hours, but then all of a sudden you get back to them in like 2 or 3, they'll notice. Right. All right. You guys have your big life ready? You know what it is?
I got a question real quick.
Oh, we have a question. Okay.
So I heard what y'all was saying, like about like the open houses and all that. So if I were to attend one that's not like with my team, like Keller Williams, what would I be looking for? Like, should I like ask questions or like what should I do at an open house?
Okay, so like going on the weekends and just checking out open houses to get to the market. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Which, by the way, is a great way to just check out the market. And just network with other agents, by the way.
Okay.
Really what you're doing is just kind of walk through the house and take note of, I would look it up ahead of time. How long has it been on the market? Right. When you're, I would write down the address, how long it's been on the market, what's the price. And then when you go to look at it and go see it, almost like look at it with the eyes of a buyer, right? Not a judgmental buyer who has like champagne taste. I'm just saying a regular buyer, okay? Right? Just kind of walk through with the eyes of the buyer. You're just taking note of the property. Because when you truly know how to do a strong CMA and you can do them pretty quickly, where you can just whip it out in like 10 minutes, right? What a great activity to do is then go back, do a quick CMA on that property. Just whip out a quick CMA on that property and be like, how do I feel about it? If I had this listing, now you can't go after it. It's already listed. Do not do that. Don't do it. Okay. Huge fines, lose licensing in Maryland. It's bad. But you're doing pretend work. So here's the address. Let me look it up. What do I think about the pricing based on my walk through the property? Do I think it's on par with the market? Not on par? If all of a sudden you look it up and there's a neighbor house that's very, very similar, but the neighbor's house is fully upgraded, and their house is like shag carpeting and like purple walls and pink walls and green walls, right? With cracks everywhere. and they were the same price, what's okay, what's the market say? What does that tell you? It's overpriced, right? Now, there's nothing you're doing about it. It's not your property. Nothing you can do. I would personally actually put a little reminder, like I would actually set something in MLS to notify me of any changes on that property. Because all of a sudden that property will either drop in price, and then it's just like, oh, okay, that agent got smart. They dropped in price. Good for them. Or, does anybody know where I'm going with this? What might happen to that property?
It might expire.
It's gonna expire.
Yes. And once it expires, guess who you get to call?
Oh,
Oh,
no.
I am. If it is a not vacant property and I live there, please, I am going over there. Hey, I was here when you had an open house. I noticed it came off the market. I actually did some research on the property just because I was curious about it. By the way, introduce yourself as an agent, obviously, right? I'd love to work up a new market analysis and talk a little bit about how I get homes sold. Can I swing back tonight 5:30 with that information? Sit down 15 minutes? Oh yeah, I'll swoop right in there. Be like, oh, right. And again, that is nothing wrong. The other agent isn't good or bad. They're not a bad person. They just maybe didn't have enough training, right? Maybe they didn't know how to have a conversation with that seller about the price and about the market, right? Maybe they didn't know how when the buyer's like, well, when the seller's like, well, my neighbor's house is selling for this, so I want to sell my house for this. Maybe they didn't know how to come back at that. Right? But the seller still wants to sell. They still need to get somewhere for some reason. So you should help them. Because they still need help. Okay. That was a total different sidetrack, but you brought me there, so I went there. We are done. We're at time. Thank you so, so much. Jamil, I am going to be reaching out to you to set up a time to sit down and meet. We haven't sat down and did that yet. I know, right?
Okay.
And how old is she?
8 months.
8 months. Oh my God.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
FIFA's like, I'm done with that one. That age. Well, any
Yeah.
Zoom we're on, she is welcome on them. All right.
Okay.
All right,
Oh, I
everybody.
didn't realize my mic is on. I'm over here talking. Sorry. I didn't that those first 3 months was a blur. I don't remember anything.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love it.
Sorry.
But all right, everybody, have an amazing night and make tomorrow count. Okay, whatever that means to you, make tomorrow count. Do something tomorrow. Right now, though, go get some rest.
Appreciate it.
All right, everybody, have a great night.
Have a
Good
good one.
night.